Welcome back to another TERA Plays TERA video. Today's video, we are going to go over a basic card guide for TERA in 2026. So, the first thing I want to start off with cards is basically explaining places to go to get cards. So your main location and main source of card collection is going to be any of the Vanguard Initiative Quartermasters. You can come over to them, hit Vanguard Supply, go to Consumable, and then you can buy a random common legendary card crate. So it'll give you a common all the way up to a legendary card, only for 100 Vanguard points. So right now, because I ran, I believe, CAA HM, I got 2,300, which allows me to buy 23. Again, just to show Vanguard reputation points. Any of these dungeons, if you have Elite Gold, you get double the Vanguard points, the Vanguard credit, meaning that CAA gives 1,150, double it, 2,300. So yeah, you basically run these dungeons, and then you get your Vanguard points and you turn them in for cards. There are other stuff you could buy, but I do recommend any new player spending your Vanguard points on cards, because this is your prime source of getting cards. Now we are going to go over a few other sources. The one thing is when you do your world events, I highly recommend doing Avenging Talons. It is the best way to get your 40 boxes per character. And you could come over and you can buy the legendary cards from here. They're quite pricey though, 500, when you can also buy Stigma shards from here for a lot cheaper. This really depends. If you're someone returning, I might recommend getting cards from here if you don't really want to work on your stigmas. If you're brand new, you might want to split it up, get Stigma shards and cards. But I would say for new players, building your card collection is going to be key. I am done with my stigmas, so I am actually going to just spend these points on cards, as I really am trying to push my last few cards that I need. Another location we're going to head over is the premium store, and if you have a bunch of leftover gold that you're not using on anything, every time servers like a main reset or a major update, you can buy an additional 300 cards from this guy right here. There is two last locations to get cards. The one is over here at the Dungeon Core Annihilation. As you complete higher dungeons, you can buy card boxes. This is nice, the fact that you can buy a rare and legendary card crate, but it is 30. Honestly, this is very pricey. I don't recommend getting your cards from here, only because if you do want to get your, commons here, a 1-for-1 isn't too bad, while 5 for green isn't terrible, but 30 is pretty excessive. I'd only recommend this if you have all your Elenu coins, and if you're not hurting on gold fluorite, then I would suggest buying card crates from here. But for the most part, it is a location. I am pointing it out as a location. I wouldn't recommend it unless you're really that diving deep. And then the last place is the event shop. The shop gets refreshed with every major maintenance, big update as well. And the nice thing with this shop is you get these, dungeon essence just from running dungeons. I would recommend always picking up the card XP from here. This is huge to get card XP from here, as well as you can get, your, rare card crates. It's only 3. I do recommend buying these out if you can, and if you got nothing else to buy, that's what I'm gonna buy right now, just so I have a few of everything to show in this video. Again, there's definitely some other good stuff here, but if you're done with stigmas, then not necessary. But I would 100% always say buy the card XP, because this gives you 5,000 card XP on top of an additional 6,000. That's roughly, 11,000 card XP. That is a lot of card XP. And the last shop is our seasonal gear shop. Now again, this is going to change, but I just want to put this out here that you can, if this is kept in and you upgrade your seasonal gear, you can get 10,000 card XP all the way up to 100,000 card XP. You can buy some green crates. Again, I wouldn't necessarily spend the coins on this because there is a lot of other good stuff. I would spend the coins on the card XP 100%. 10,000 card XP is massive. We're going to go over card XP and leveling cards next. So let's look at our card collection. Our card collection, you want to collect 15 of each card, and there is 3 different rarities for the normal cards. You have common, you got green, which is uncommon, blue, which is rare, and then you have your legendary cards, which again you would need 15 of to get to max gear. Stay tuned. Towards the end of the video, I am going to show a list of priority depending what is your major, like your main and or most played classes. But I do want to go over kind of how cards work and how card XP works. So cards, when you're leveling them, you got to get any of these cards to level 5 or a total of 5 to get an increase. So you can see right here, I got this guy, the Gutrin Raider, up to 5. So now I get the first enchant, which means I get an additional Soma Detect weakness. If I was to level this guy up once, it would not do anything for me. I would have to get a total of 5 between these 3 cards. And you can see down here, I have enchant level 10 because I have the Vampire Jester at 5. While I'll have the green one at 4 and the blue one at 1. 4 and 1 makes additional 5, so I have 10. So to get the massive bonus, you need to get all of these cards up to level 5. Legendary cards work a little differently in the fact that there typically is only one legendary card in the set. And the way this works is, well, once you unlock a Kaya card, a Velik, a Frostflower, any of these cards, once you get your very first one, then you get the increased power of 15 or whatever the first level is. You gotta level it all the way up from that 0 to 3. That's gonna take you a ton of card XP. It's roughly probably 50,000 just for that. Because I believe the first one's 3, second one's maybe 5, and then it jumps up to like 30 for level 3, no, 30 for level 4. It's about 3, 5, 15, 30, 57 or something. I might be off a little, but it's it gets expensive for card XP. But you do gotta get these up to level 5 to gain the full bonus. And the last card set to really go over is how Shakan works. Shakan is 5 gold cards in total. Now all these cards do have their own bonuses. I can tell you Caligar gives you, I believe it's like 15 crit or something, and then he gives you 2% decreased damage and then 2% damage once level 5. So when you do level 5 Caligar or any of the crit power cards, I believe Training Dark Reach Arena or Dracon's Arena is crit power. When you level those up to 5, you do get their normal bonuses. When you level all 5 of these up to 5 is when you get Shakan. So, and to do that, you're gonna need 15 of each card. Now, as you can see, these Gordos, I have 15 of each. If I was to level them completely, I would get the additional 3 plus 7 plus 10%. These also stack. So anyone who is wondering what cards, for just example for the Gordos, at the end of it, you would actually get not, 10% increased crafting speed. You actually get 20%. So that's for everything. That's just, no matter what cards you level, you get their bonuses, and it is an additive bonus for each card. You can see on the right section the total card collection effects. And then if you go into your binder, you can see how much card XP you get. Now there is another way of getting card XP, and that is simply opening up cards. So we'll open up just a few That's nice. That's YouTuber RNG for the win. As you open up cards, you can see I just about have every card besides some of the blue ones. So as I collect cards, I'm gonna get card XP depending on the variant of the card. Legendary cards, I have every legendary card in the game. Not every legendary card leveled, but no matter what legendary card I open, I get 1,000 card XP. So if we open up some of the greens, you'll see that you have a better chance of pulling green and blue cards. And as far as the blue crates, you always have a chance of getting a blue card with a chance of getting a legendary card. Honestly, opening up legendary cards is going to be your go-to. I didn't have Hide Watch, so that's now a card that I can add to my list. And if we go over to Hide Watch, you will see that I now actually have 15. If you have auto register your cards on, basically what that does is any card that you have completed, it will just automatically register it to card XP for you. So you don't have to sit there and click each one to get the card XP. You only register them like I did with the High Watch when you don't have it. And yeah, that is the basics of how to work cards in TERA. The next thing we're going to go over, which this is probably the most important thing, is making sure you don't waste your card XP. Because even just a basic blue is 800, and that increases all the way up to like 9,000 just to finish one blue card off. And I can even show, my god, I got a yellow card I still need to level. For Larva Hatchery, just for me to get it to level 4, it's going to be 30,000. To get it the next level after that, I believe it's like 54,000. So right there, that's 84,000. Just to get that additional 0.1 crit power. So it's very important to make sure you don't waste your card XP on things that aren't that important. And there is a suggested card XP order, which you'll see on the screen right here. I've document. I will put this document in the video description. I have it on my Google Docs. I will let anyone have access to it, unless I can find a way to make it so that the PDF and just turn it into a PDF and allow that to be downloadable. That I will do as well. So I do have the 3 classes here split up. We got tanks, we got DPS, and we got healers. This is just kind of a basic guideline. You can do whatever you feel like, but do think about what classes you play the most, because cards are account wide. In other words, if you get, let's say, Shakan, and you finish Shakan on your warrior, well, it's going to not only your warrior, but it's going to all your other DPS, your healers, your tanks. So everything is account shared. This is why I do recommend suggesting what classes you play the most, because even though you might be a healer main, maybe you feel like your healer is fine and you don't want to focus on healer cards because you might realize, you know what, I play 4 different DPS and I'm getting 4 runs on my DPS while I'm only doing 1 run on the healer. You might want to focus on DPS only or DPS specific cards. If you are strictly only playing healer, there is a set of cards to focus on. So the first thing we're going to go over is tank and DPS. These two are virtually the same with one small change. Tank and DPS both want to get their Velik and Kaya cards to tier 5 as soon as possible. This is what your main focus should be. You want to focus all your card XP towards them. You want to focus when you saw that I opened up that legendary crate, you could pick card crate 1 or 2. Card crate 1 will give you Velik, Kaya, and the 2 flowers. I believe it's Sky Lotus and Frost Flower. You want to focus all of those into them. You want to do your best to get 15 Kaya, 15 Velik, and plus 15 them, because those stigma weaknesses they give are the most massive buff in the game. The next thing you want to focus on is your flowers to level 3. Both the Sky Lotus and the other flower to level 3 are very important, as they give you additional cooldown. And that cooldown does let you run your class a bit more smooth, and it's 2%, or I think it's 1.5%. Hold on, let me double check. I might as well check it since it's up. It is 1.5. I do apologize. I'll show that right there. It is 1.5. So between the two of them, it is 3%. That is pretty massive. And then from here is where tank and DPS split just a tiny bit. Once your flowers are at T3, I would still recommend get 15 of them. That way, once you have 15 of Velik, Kaya, and the 2 flowers, if you do want to get card XP, you can always open that box and just get a free 1000. Even while grinding your other cards or Shakan, you can kind of force more card XP. But the next cards to focus on is flat damage or all damage cards, and you want to get those to level 10. So you want to level up all the, common and green cards, and this is kind of what you focus on while you're now grinding Shakan, which is in the next level. Basically, this starts breaking down that, once you get your flowers to level 3, you start, just opening up, collecting card boxes, and as you're getting Shakan, and as you're getting the Shakan cards collected, you're naturally going to get your damage cards. And while you're saving up card XP, when you start realizing I have plenty of card XP to wiggle with, I don't have anywhere near Shakan done, let me put my XP into some of these damage cards. Now, I do separate flat damage and damage all, because there is a lot of back damage cards that don't help tanks. So tanks, you do have one less card to worry about. You don't have to do any of the back damage, just the overall flat damage cards. Once you have a good portion of those done and you're starting to finish up Shakan and get Shakan done, then you can start finishing up your flowers. Getting those flowers to T5 gives you an additional 4% attack speed. Very, very useful. Once all of that's done and you've collected more cards, you really want to just finish up your damage cards, finish your crit power cards, and then from there it's less important, but crit, I do have a little notice down here for crit. Crit is only for classes that really, really need the extra crit. That way you don't have to run crit on jewelry. This is kind of like a level as needed type card. Most DPS don't really need to run that much crit anymore. But I know Gunners, I know Reapers usually like a little bit more crit. Even as a warrior main, I like a little bit more crit to make sure that that scythe crits. And having those crit cards really allows you to make sure you're running full power jewelry, which does give you the most amount of damage. From here, we have the Diamond and Spirit Dragon, just additional attack speed and cooldown. And then last, we work on stigma weakness and power as needed. Basically, you do, yes, want to get all of these cards up to 15, but this is kind of just a basic order of what to focus on. What is primary focus up here, and then as you're working on this middle section, you're also building Shakan. Once you have Shakan basically built and done, then you just, hopefully you already collected enough of, common and green cards that you just start dumping card XP into them, and then you slowly build up the blue cards, and then you finish off the blue cards with the card XP. Healers. Yeah, healers, you have a slightly different order of stuff. And I do apologize, somehow Shakan got removed from your list. But healers, you definitely want to get your flower cards up. You want to get your Diamond and Spirit Dragon up. You want to get Shakan up, in my opinion, as soon as possible. Shakan should be right at that bottom. I will attempt to edit that before releasing the full image. but Shakan should be right there on the healer end. I'll just video edit Shakan in. Shakan should be right there under power and with power. And then from there, you can get raise HP, crit, decrease damage, and endurance. The reason healers, you want to get your flowers to T5 as soon as possible is because that decreased cooldown and increased attack speed is actually major for healers, as well as the decreased cooldown and attack speed from Diamond and Spirit Dragon. The idea of getting power, and for healers, you will want to get at least one Kaya and Velik card. So hopefully while getting your flowers to T5, you get your Kaya and Velik card, because getting that extra power on a healer is going to increase your overall buffs that you give to your team. And then once you got the power cards, you can even do the basic power cards. Once you're, working on that stuff, you do want to push Shakan very, very early on a healer end of things, because Shakan is actually a major buff to healers. Not only do you get that increased 20 power, which again, power is massive on healers as it makes your buff stronger. Endurance is still pretty nice for healers other than other classes. Having 40 crit factor is great for any healer. Plus you get the additional 2% cooldown, plus you get additional 2% attack speed, and then that damage boost. That plus 8% damage boost also increases the damage or the power that you give to your teammates. So this is where Shakan for healers is a hard focus. You definitely want to primary focus Shakan once you get your flowers done. In my opinion, you get 15 flower cards, 15 of each. By then, you hopefully have one Kaya, one Velik. Push all your cards into Shakan. Every gold card you get, do, level 2 crates, get that Shakan up and running for your healer. Like, that is massive. And then from there, you can do raise HP, you can do crit, decrease damage. Again, raise HP is on the list because if anyone's struggling healing their teammates, having more HP makes your heal stronger. It's not as a focus as Shakan. The same thing with crit. More crits for healers is just better. Decreased damage and endurance just helps you survive better in dungeon fights. So that is my rant about what cards to focus on, especially for 2026. And that there is actually a major grind now for cards. It's not like card boxes are shared anymore. You get that Vanguard XP, you dump it into cards, you run your Guardian Legion, you take your tokens, you spend some gold. You can severely grind cards out a lot faster now than ever before. And yeah, that's it. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comment section. I will do my best to answer them as best as I can. Again, I want to give a huge shout out to 3 players at this point who helped me with this list, and those players are Roar, Easy, and Jab. All 3 of them have been very helpful to my, coming onto TERA, understanding what to level a lot of times first, what to dive, Definitely cards. Roar was amazing because I was always wondering why my damage was weaker than other people. Especially once I got Shakan, I knew I was doing well, but I was like, why am I not up there with other people? And he told me, hey, what are your cards at? And I'm like, well, I've been focusing on this. I was focusing on Stigma weakness first because I thought that was better. And he was like, no, crit power. Crit power is amazing. And I'm like, oh crap, I didn't work on a single crit power card. And yeah, now that I got those up, it's massive. So a huge thanks to all 3 of them. DZ Roar for helping me with just DPS overall, and then Jab for helping me with, healers and what is best for healers. So I can't thank them enough. With that, that is the end of the video. So like I said, if you got any questions, feel free to ask. If you're not subscribed, please considering doing so, as I will be releasing more guides towards like Stigma, Stones, all that good stuff on what you should be focusing on for your classes. With that, I hope you have a wonderful day or night, And as always, I hope to see ya in Aboria, gamers.